evening. Avalanche awareness is high as we head into the weekend. Today, several slides across south central Alaska impacted Hatcher Pass Recreation Area, the Old Glen and Seward highways. I spoke with one avalanche forecaster who says the message is simple this weekend. Wait to go out to the backcountry and use caution if you do. An avalanche on the Seward Highway brought traffic to a standstill.
Yeah, he said it's going to be a couple hours at least.
It happened near mile 91 of the highway, backed up traffic for miles, and closed the road for much of the day, reopening at 2 this afternoon.
Yeah, we're listening to a book on our CD here.
A similar story played out near mile 8 on the Old Glen Highway, where a slide spilled out onto the road, and the Department of Transportation says it will remain closed overnight between milepost 7.6 and 8.6.
Between accidents and avalanches, you got to have a good book in the car, and you got to have some food. I always carry a little food, and so I'm prepared always.
If Alaska has taught us anything, it's to always come prepared.
It really ties into just this long series of storms that we've been having. For the last month, we've basically had storm after storm after storm.
John Sykes is an avalanche forecaster at the Chugach National Forest Avalanche Information Center and urges anyone headed to the backcountry this weekend to be cautious.
For human-triggered avalanches, it's most common 1 to 2 days after the storm.
The avalanche forecast for Turnagain Pass is considerable and high for Hatcher Pass.
Even though the weather this weekend looks like it's going to be pretty nice, but the avalanche conditions are still going to be primed for human-triggered avalanches.
The Hatcher Pass Recreation Area will remain closed at mile 11 of the Shook Road at least through Sunday because of high avalanche danger. DOT says artillery crews are planning to trigger slides in that area once work on the Seward and Glen is complete. Now, we also talked with the Alaska Department of Transportation about today's mitigation efforts on the Seward Highway.
Well, there was about 2 to 3 other slides that they were able to bring down with their mitigation efforts that did hit the road. So we're glad we got those also. So we hit those before we cleaned up the big slide.
Acting Central Region Maintenance and Operations Chief Burrell Nicholson says crews are planning to work on clearing the avalanche on the Old Glen in the morning if it is safe for workers.
We're going to need daylight hours. We do have mitigation where we need to actually utilize a helicopter in order to get up the mountain to have a look at Pioneer Peak. And our hope is to get into the helicopter or at least, have a spotter from ground by the time, daylight hits tomorrow.
Weather definitely a big headline today. Let's bring in meteorologist Joe Bartosik for the avalanche forecast and first look at the holiday weekend. Joe, what's coming up next?
Well, Patrick, a much-needed and well-deserved break in the weather over the next couple of days is what's on tap. But again, backcountry skiers, snow machiners, I know that weather's going to be great this weekend, and a lot of you are itching to get out there if you haven't already done so. But again, all the officials here say we were very high risk, not just in those areas above 1,000 feet and above 2,500
They do
feet,
4 out of 5 flags.
The surface. So again, for Hatcher Pass, 4 out of 5 high-level flags are flying again for that very high risk. It's an indication of how serious that risk is. For Turnagain Pass, considerable. Again, all levels from base all the way up. Best advice is to again not go at all, but if you do have to be out, try to avoid those areas that have a slope greater than about 30 degrees. What's compounding the problem?